Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations, has you covered. From our studios to our newsroom at K.L.P Entertainment. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. Pass it on. From PassItOn.com.
K.L.P Aftermath with your host Kennedy Lucas brings out all the stops. Tune in to K.L.P Aftermath as we have stories, reviews, current events, and even our famous segment, Elephant in the Room. Inspired by the Breakfast Club's Donkey of the Day, K.L.P Aftermath with your host Kennedy Lucas streams on Atlanta's #1 radio station, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat's 94.6 radio station. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
He went without food, not to lose weight, but to help people lose generations of hate. While many around him rose up with violence, he sat down for peace. When others used religion as an excuse for war, he used it to remind them of love. Mahatma Gandhi made the world a far better place by reaching out with the strength he cultivated within his soul. Soul is in you. Now pass it on. From PassItOn.com.
The other stations are tuned in too.
K.L.P Aftermath. Swanky. With your host, Kennedy Lucas. On Swanky 93.3 radio station. The Heat 94.6 radio station.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. A grand morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the K.L.P Aftermath. Welcome back to another exciting episode of our podcast shows here today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a wonderful April 11th. It's Tuesday, bright early in the morning. Yes, I made it here into the studio. Look, Georgians, Atlantans, we got to get 285 straight. Last night was so freaking horrible, Simone. I never thought. So I'm coming in, I'm on my way to my house last night. 285 is backed up before I can get onto the exit to go on 285. So I did a whole 360, not really, but I went around whatever it was, right? And you know that you bypass traffic when you go around, let's say if you're getting ready to go on your exit, and you're looking, and by far you can see there's heavy traffic, there cars and trucks and stuff. They ain't moving, right, Simone? So I looked over. I'm like, okay, no, we're not about to sit in this shit. So we're gonna go around it. So I kept going down 20 and went around 285 to get kind of back on 285. And I tell you this, Simone, you can tell like when it's backed up, because when you get back on the highway that was backed up from the beginning of it, there's nobody on the tail end of 285 or the tail end of it, because they're still backed up from whatever it was. We got to get that straight. 285 is terrible. I made it to the studio this morning, but we got to get that together, guys. I don't know what we doing but it's getting worse and worse and worse every single day. But we're not here on the podcast for me to gripe about 285. We from Atlanta, we all know how 285 goes. Simone Teagues is here in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Mason Carter, he is out today. He has the day off. He, of course, runs our business on the outside of K.L.P Entertainment. So he is out today. We've got myself and Simone Teagues up in the studio as well. Simone, how you doing, sis?
I'm doing good, fired up, and ready to go. Fired up, ready to go. That's going to be my newest intro. I actually, look, shout out to our former president, Barack Obama, because I've been reading as well, because we've talked about it before we went on air, Kennedy. I've finally got to I started to read A Promised Land from Barack Obama. So excited. I'm stoked. I'm stoked about reading that. And in his book, he says he was at his rally and a woman from the NAACP was like, fired up, ready to go. So that's probably going to be my new slogan, because that's an inspiration. But I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. It's good to be back here in the studio with you. I do know about 285 because I didn't see that traffic coming in, because I was out last night as well. But I was coming on the other side of 85. So I didn't experience that. But I got to say, I got to joke with you, Kennedy, that I didn't see any traffic on my end. But I can believe it. Right? I can believe this. So traffic 285, I can believe that there's a lot of traffic near Stonecrest Mall. There's a lot of traffic near Panola Road. So it's one of those things that it does happen to a lot of people. And unfortunately, Kennedy, you were the victim of this. I do want to say to our fan base real quick, because I know we have a show to do. I do want to thank everybody for allowing us to come on the show. I'm very blessed and highly favored in that, Kinley, but very thankful from the last episode. If you guys missed the last episode, we reviewed the Super Mario movie. We all saw the movie. It was great. Go watch that episode. We're not going to go into details with that one. But we've had a lot of people commenting on our forum about they like this new direction that we're doing here, that K.L.P Aftermath season 5. We're still in our 5th season, and they like the direction that we're going in with. So I do have to say thank you, because a lot of people love us. A lot of people love, not trying to sound conceited, Kennedy, but a lot of people loved me in the last episode. They loved how spicy I was. So I'm still gonna try to do my best to keep it spicy for my ladies out there. Thankful as always.
I'm with you, Simone. Blessed and highly favored from K.L.P and Simone Teagues. Now, we're not going to waste any more time here on the podcast dibble-dabbling about traffic in 285 again. We got a show to do, Simone. So, over this past weekend, which I do hope that everyone has had a Grand Slam Easter. It was great. It was a great Easter time. You know, I got up. I had to do a house tour, which I'll talk about that later on. Went to the gym, called some people, wished everybody a happy Easter, cooked some dinner. So I really do hope that everybody had a Grand Slam Easter for sure. If you guys celebrate Easter, I remember, and Simone, comment below, comment in for sure, but to our fan base, comment below if y'all remember this. I used to joke, and I joked about, my siblings, and I actually called my parents over the weekend too, because there was a thing that when we were kids, we used to always, okay, so when we were kids, Simone, we had to go to church. Obviously, everybody has went to church over this past Sunday. It is just something very, very special when it comes down to going to going to church on Easter. So that was one of the things we did when we were kids. And one of the other things we would do when we were kids is we would get a basket, and our parents would fill that up with a teddy bear, and some candy and some graffiti. I remember one year, and I guess it was a year we were just doing really, really good in school, because we also got a video game when we were kids. So it's very, very interesting. Now, as we get adults, obviously we don't get that kind of stuff anymore. And I see it all over TikTok. People has made like a comedy thing for TikTok where, when your parents tell you that you're too old to be getting that stuff. And, it was very, very funny because we are getting old, because we're getting old. We're getting up there. In a couple of weeks, I'll be 27. And that stuff scares the living crap out of me. Sometimes I'm excited, by the way, guys, but we're getting up there. And I remember, as we dabble into some of these holidays, we tend to remember, and we tend to think, oh man, we used to do this. Oh, we used to get this. Oh, we used to get this when we were kids. And now we don't see that stuff anymore. Obviously, we're all adults. And my dad also made it funny. He said, oh, well, that actually gets turned around, and the kids are supposed to give parents stuff like that. I chuckled, but stuff like that's expensive. It's inflation right now. And I'm very, 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 very selfish when it comes to buying things. I buy things for myself solely. So, what do you think, Simone? How did you used to get your Easter things over on Easter? Did you ever get the basket and the teddy bear and the candy bars?
Oh, absolutely. So when I was a kid, and our parents, I gotta say, my parents did the best they could. By no means we were rich, so we didn't get the luxury of luxury, but we weren't poor either. Like, our parents did the very best that they could. And when we were younger, and when my parents divorced when we were younger, but when we were younger and we were kids and our parents were still together, we would sometimes get the Easter basket. They wouldn't buy a huge, gigantic basket because they know that when we were kids, they knew that we were going to throw those things away. We cared about the candy and the toys that we get. I would get candy and toys when I was a kid. My brother, because I know, Kennedy, you have two brothers. I only have one brother, but I got two sisters. My brother used to get the video games, and me and my sisters, we used to get the Barbie dolls. And that was the thing, because even though my parents, they would go to the dollar store, I don't know, with the games, like when my brother would get games, he would get like the $5 knockoff game that, yeah, he had it for his GameCube, but it wasn't like the brand new video game that just came out. Stuff like that, he had to wait until like his birthday or Christmas to get those type of games when we were younger. But it will be like the knockoff, like the on sale type video games, and then the Barbie dolls that me and my sisters would get. We would get the like $1 doll or $2, like something very, very cheap. But when we were kids, we loved it because we had got something for Easter. So that's why it gets kind of exciting, because when we were kids, we were just getting something on Easter. It felt like Christmas. And it is true, we would have to go to church. It was kind of mandatory in our household when we were younger. The ladies had to wear the dresses, the men wore a suit, and it was hot. Now, I don't know what kind of weather we're having this year in Georgia, because surprisingly, it's feeling like 40 degrees. It feels like December in April. So I've never experienced weather quite like this year. But I remember when I was a kid, we would have to withstand, 80, 90 degree weather. It was hot, but we've had to manage.
Oh, dear God. Yes, I remember. Now, that one Easter, me and my brother had to wear these heavy ass suits, and we were young too, so we were aggravated, agitated, hot. Yeah, Easter was very, very interesting when we were kids. Now, like I mentioned, guys, we're adults. We've got things going on. I slept a great deal the last couple of days, so it's been a good weekend. So the moral of the story to our fan base, we do hope that everybody has had a fantastic Easter. Now, you guys know, because we announced our theme and our restructure of K.L.P. Aftermath Season 5, I do have to say thank you for you guys again. We did get renewed for season 6, so summer season for us is coming. Now, we do have Addison and Arthur in the studio as well. Arthur got his sports news and Addison got their hip hop for this episode. We didn't leave them out, but we've got to do this film review, Simone. And let me tell you, another thing I did on Easter Sunday, I was cooking dinner and I was able to dabble down and watch this movie. And the whole purpose of K.L.P. Aftermath is when we got a movie or a video game or something new, we like to review. That's the whole restructure of our show. And this show is coming from Peacock Originals. Everybody has been talking about this episode, and we're talking, or this movie rather, and we're talking about this movie called Praise This. Now, this movie is very, very interesting. Of course, Will Packer was in the behind. He was in production with this. This is his whole production. Chloe Bailey stars in a awesome new Peacock original. If you have a Peacock subscription, you can go and watch this movie today. Now, Tina Gordon has been working on some quite a few things, right? This movie stars Simone, Chloe Bailey, and Quavo with and I might butcher this name, Ajinka Washington. If I pronounce that name right, give me a thumbs up on our video or our podcast rather. This is very, very interesting. Now, I am glad that they put something like this together because this is good, right? Now, I got to look at the scores here, Simone, and you know, this grading, you know, they got a 43% Rotten Tomatoes. They received a 5.7 out of 10 from the IMDb database. So the premise of the movie, get this, is a young woman with dreams of becoming a superstar joins an underdog Atlanta praise team choir in the lead up to the national competition. So you have this this young woman by the name of Sam, played by Chloe Bailey, and she's trying to find herself, Simone. She's trying to find herself. She's trying to go out there and really find her voice, find what she's looking for, but then she ended up liking it more in Atlanta when she's joined the choir team. Now, Quavo is also in this movie. He's playing Ty Way, rapper name, really. And I couldn't really go by his even though I know that's Quavo, I kept, because me and Monica, we watched this movie together, obviously, and I kept wanting to say, and Quavo said this, and Monica said, no, his name is Ty Way in this movie. But I'm like, nah, Monica, that's Quavo. Like, he might as well could have just went as Quavo for himself. But very, very excited for this movie because this movie, number one, is based right here in Atlanta. I love it when movies base things off of our city of Atlanta. It gets me very giddy when they have either it's raw footage, stock footage, or actual footage of them filming like a transitional scene. So for an example, Simone, it's the first transition to where they show, oh, we're in Atlanta. That famous bridge that everybody can stand on and it looks straight ahead towards Atlanta. That famous scene that almost every movie has used it. I've used it in my movies before too. So I know that famous movie transitional scene of Atlanta when I see it. It's very, very interesting. I love it when films are made here in Atlanta and they're based in Atlanta because you can really kind of relate to us Atlanta people. Now, Drew Drutsky Bordres, he is a viral sensation. He's a singer. He's viral on TikTok. He's viral on Instagram. You can really tell that there is a lot of viral people that are in this movie. Not only with Chloe Bailey and Quavo, but you got Drew Drutsky, right? You got my man Michael Anthony, Big Mike from the Country Wayne skits. Country Wayne is also in this movie as well. He's playing the DJ in this movie. Let's see, Simone, who else? Crystal Renee Hanslet. She's popping off right now because she's in Zatima. So she's working with Tyler Perry, obviously here in Atlanta. Very, very excited for that. You got a lot of great cast members. We really do have a lot of great cast members in this movie. That is very, very exciting. I get very excited for that. Lauren Lott is in this movie. I'm going down this list here to make sure I don't skip anybody. Let's see, skipping through, because we have a long list of people that are in this movie. Again, Country Wayne, Wayne Cooley, Country Wayne is in this movie. Michelle Williams is one of the finals hosts, made an appearance in this movie. Let's see who else is in this movie. Jasmine Robinson is in this movie. She's a bit viral. So a lot of viral people, a lot of social media viral people they put in this movie is very, very exciting because, again, not to harp on Country Wayne, but you got Mike and Wayne in this movie. And with the Country Wayne skits, they're starting with Facebook with the skits. And now you're working with Will Packer. You're working with Peacock, NBC, right? So the sky's the limit when you have a platform and then you're transferring over to movies, right? I got to give a shout out to Country Wayne because I know Shell Purcell, she's in Country Wayne skits and she's dabbling into movies as well. And that's my girl. So I get very, very excited for this. This movie it's a good movie. I got to say that it's a great musical. I like it how they put viral hits from down to Quavo, down to Cardi B, down to Megan Thee Stallion. And they're putting on a gospel side to it, right? That really, I don't know, that resonates to me, Simone. That really gets me go because a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm huge into gospel music. One of my favorite artists right now to date is Travis Malloy, right? He's a gospel singer, artist. I dabble in gospel heavily. A little backstory, and this is kind of relating to the movie a little bit. And Simone, I've told you this many times before. I regained my faithfulness and spiritual back in 2021. When 2021, early 2021, coming out of COVID, I was at my lowest point, right? So I got into gospel again back in 2021 because I was at my lowest of the low. Before institution work came about, after getting laid off with hospitality, I was working with Amazon. I was at my lowest low. I was depressed. I was drinking a lot. I almost became an alcoholic because I was drinking so much because I was just so depressed. And this was the same concept after 2020 when I graduated college, and I didn't have a graduation ceremony. So I was at my lowest low. So the whole point of the process is I dabble heavy in gospel music. Spiritually, I do. So when you have this movie that resonates to a lot of people, you have beautiful as Chloe Bailey to play her character and her amazing vocals that she portrays in this movie. It goes wild. It goes wonders. A lot of people love this movie for the gospel music, the story. I'm impressed. I'm very, very impressed with this movie. Simone, what are your thoughts?
This movie has a lot of great elements. Kennedy, you said it best. I also enjoy that they're able to take viral number one hit R&B, rap, trap type songs that when you have the beat playing in this movie, you know what song that is. But of course, they're gonna obviously turn it into a spiritual light. Like you mentioned, I do enjoy seeing, beautiful Chloe Bailey. She's doing her thing. Chin up, sis. And I say that because I know I want to say she dropped her latest album, and I know she took to social media because fortunately I only sold 10,000 copies and she was hoping for more, but she has this movie under her belt, and this is a movie that she is a star lead in. And I think I kind of like it to where the Bailey sisters, I love the Bailey sisters. I love what they stand for. I love their vocals. I love how they came up. But I have to say, I'm very, very excited for their futures being separate entities, if you will. Because if you remember the Bailey sisters, so Chloe and Halle Bailey, when they came up with their music, they've starred in Grownish, right? They were a unit, they were together. But now you've got Halle Bailey, she's in the next Mermaid movie that's getting ready to drop. And now you got Chloe Bailey, she's in a Peacock from NBC and Will Packer's original series. She's a star lead in this movie. I do want to see a sequel to this. I think we are going to get a sequel to this because even though, unfortunately, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 43%, which is in standards from 100, that's an F, and IMDb gives it a 5.7 out of 10, they're still going to find ways to find these reviews, really look at these ratings and say, okay, we need to do a second one, but how can we do this? Right? How can we do this? Now, the story, I'm glad that when it came down to Chloe and Quavo's characters, so you've got Sam and Tyway, I'm glad that it wasn't a typical love story. You look at all these movies, musical or not, where you have that, and we know this in film terms because we all film movies ourselves, but that first meet cute, right? When the guy and the girl, or the girl and the girl, or the guy first meet in the movie, oh, that's the love interest. Oh, they're going to be a couple, right? And it tends to become predictable in a way. So I'm glad that they didn't go this route and having it being predictable, like, oh, Chloe and Quavo's character, they're gonna fall in love. I'm glad they didn't do that. Now, will they become a love interest in the second one? If there is a sequel, which I'm pretty sure they probably will do it, if there's money involved in backing into it, possibly. But I'm glad that they didn't do that, and I'm glad that it wasn't typical for that love interest for this movie. They have a falling out when, of course, Sam, played by Chloe Bailey, she steals Tyway, Quavo's character's beat that he made himself, and he was gonna rap on for his style and his music, but she ended up taking the beat and using it without their permission, and that's how that ended up happening, how they kind of had a falling out, if you will, to it. This movie is funny too. They made it to a point where they had some elements. Now, Jessica, her character, to me, Jess reminds me of me. Because I remember when I first came to work at K.L.P Entertainment, I was the corny, snarky, making these corny ass jokes, and Kennedy, you would laugh. You would really, really laugh, but everybody else, I'm like Mason and James, they would say, who is this girl? Like, she's not funny. She's corny, but she ain't funny, right? And I kind of see Jess in that light, the character in that light, to where, you know, she is funny and she's unapologetically herself, right? There's a scene in the movie where she asks Sam, oh, did Tyway, did he talk about me? Knowing damn well he ain't feeling her, but she's trying really hard because she's her authentic, unapologetic self, right? So I love characters like that. I love the, if you say kooky characters, right? But she, again, being herself, and then she's, you know, funny as hell in this movie. And I do see her having a bright future, not just in this movie, if they turn it into a movie series, but I do see her in a bright future with acting and getting these roles from different networks because of her comedic side of her acting. So my end result, this movie is great. It has all the elements. It has everything. It's funny. It's witty. I do think they're gonna make a second one, Kaylee. I really do. It's good. It's really, really good. If you want something good to watch, this is the one to watch. I would take this one a look. Comment below in our forum. Let us know what you guys think. We'd love to hear from you guys about this movie. And what do you think? Will you go out and see this movie on Peacock if you have that Peacock subscription? Or is this a pass for you guys? Let us know.
Yes, definitely let us know for sure, guys, because we really love to hear from you guys. We really do. So coming up next, of course, Addison. She's here in the studio. And Addison, I hear that you've got your latest report, your latest news from, of course, Omarion. What's going on with that?
Omarion has been approached by the AllBLK network to develop a television series based on his life, which will be called Involved. Deadline reports AllBLK, the streaming service owned by AMC Networks, has ordered Involved, a scripted drama inspired by the singer's life. The former B2K crooner, real name Omari Ishmael Granberry, is a co-creator of the series and will star and executive produce. The streamer will also hold a national casting call at the 27th Annual American Black Film Festival for the series co-lead. For the series description, Involved follows O.B. Sharp, who has been a boy band superstar since childhood. Now on the verge of a worldwide tour, he secretly wants to leave the group to be a more present dad and have a better co-parenting relationship with his child's mother, who lives in his guest house with her new boyfriend. The only person who has always understood OB and his lifestyle is his best friend, Maya, who is openly bi. They've always had an intimate connection without being physical. However, all that changes when they meet Eddie, an eclectic flower shop owner with a free spirit and fluid lifestyle. Suddenly, OB's love life gets an extreme makeover, and together, they discover their new normal as a throuple. Faced with a multitude of changes in a short time frame, O.B. Sharp is adjusting to new normals within himself, relationship and family dynamics, and new business ventures. There are, however, some blemishes for the post-to-be singer at the moment. He recently had to address a fan who believed she was engaged to the You Got Served actor without ever meeting him, and had to be let down the hard way during a recent appearance on DR. Phil. Bronx native Simone was brought on the show by her best friend, who was frustrated not only that her friend believed in what was clearly a fake relationship, but that she was also sending money to this person purporting to be Omarion. While the scammer was able to get $300 out of Simone for a fan club membership that never materialized, she thankfully had yet to send the $3,000 Omarion's manager was trying to charge her to meet him. After both Simone and her best friend told the story to DR. Phil, Omarion's real manager, made an appearance to confirm Simone was being scammed, and then the real Omarion appeared via video with a message. I heard about today's show and I definitely want to share this important message with my fans and the viewers, O started out. It's crazy how far these people will go to convince and manipulate my fans to think that they are actually speaking with me. From sending fake driver's licenses and passports, even FaceTiming them claiming that there was a bad connection when they never even seen me. I'm so sorry, Simone.
I thought Haddison was talking about me. Just let y'all know, that's the wrong Simone. That Simone is different from this Simone. So just to let our fan base know.
That is pretty funny though. Best of luck to Omarion. I hope it's everything that he's looking for. I did hear about this network, and they're making some dope stuff. Simone, they're definitely making some dope stuff. Now, speaking of dope, a show that is dope, but the latest episode had me in tears. I did a lot of watching this Sunday just for this show. Now, I wanted to report real quickly on this because I know, Simone, you said that you haven't seen this show or you haven't caught up quite just yet on this show. But if you guys don't know, latest episode of Succession came out Sunday, and boy, was that a doozy. Alright, so spoiler alert to a lot of people, but I'm gonna say on record on this show, I kind of called it though. I may have called it on the Beyond Swanky podcast. I don't think I called it on this one. So I called it I've talked about it. I was hyped about it, and I kind of knew that this was going to happen, right? I called it. So, spoiler alert to a lot of people who haven't watched episode 3 of season 4 of Succession. Pause our podcast, go watch the episode, and then come back, because I don't want to spoil it for a lot of people. But it has happened. It happened unexpectedly, though. And I gotta say, from the director to the cast members, good job. Good job having us on suspense, on edge, very emotional, because I didn't see it coming until it happened. Now, the episode is called Connor's Wedding. Connor is getting, he does get married to Wilma. And Kendall, Rome, and Shiv, they're on a boat getting ready to travel to go to the wedding. And Logan Roy does die in episode 3. Spoiler alert to a lot of people who haven't seen it yet. I called it on the Beyond Swanky podcast a couple weeks back about how they were going to kill a character off so that way it diverts the story, because this is the last season. They're not going to get renewed for another season. I don't want to say pick Simone, because that sounds kind of morbid, but I knew Logan Roy might be the person that dies, is what I said a couple weeks back on the Beyond Swanky podcast show. He dies in episode 3. Unexpectedly, though. Right? Death is... Look, I'm not... How the way they filmed this in cinematography, and to have all the kids realizing, like, oh shit, my dad just died, right? These kids are realizing that moment, and throughout the seasons they kept going back and forth with each other, battling with each other, but now that he's actually gone, shit got turned up. Excuse my French, guys, but it got turned up. Because it is true, kids, if you're beefing with your parents, you never know, because it could be, bam, they're gone. That changes the whole dynamics, right? It does. It really does. So Logan Roy, Brian Cox plays Logan Roy. Brian Cox, I doubt you're listening to the episode, but bravo, man. Bravo. Not just from episode 3, but just the entire franchise, the entire series. Brav freaking oh. I think Brian Cox did phenomenal playing Logan Roy. He did phenomenal, honestly. He has done a great job portraying this character. How the way they killed him off was sad, but I mean, they kind of had to. The director, I watched the behind the scenes, Simone, and they said that, yeah, we didn't really want to kill him off so soon, but, you know, we're not getting renewed, so we got to turn it somewhere, you know? So, this episode was sad. It really got me emotional. It really did, because, you know, Kendall, Rome, especially Shiv. Shiv, I think, took it the hardest. When she found out, she took it because she's a daddy's girl, right? She took it the hardest. I would say out of every character, Shiv did take it the hardest. I'm very interested to see how they're going to turn it now within the last couple of episodes of this season, of this series. I'm sad that this series didn't get renewed for season 5. I get really sad about this kind of stuff, because this is a good show. But I'm very, very excited to see how they're going to turn it without Brian Cox, without Logan being dead now. The character being dead, how the way they filmed it, you know, resuscitation, they didn't really have him. They had his body on screen, right? And Brian Cox had to lay down and be still, right? But they didn't make it, I don't know. They just made it so surreal, this episode. They just made it so surreal. Like, shit happened. Like, it did a whole 360. And in the second, or I want to say the 12th scene, they did a whole 360. Now the whole dynamics have changed. And it was so unexpected. And I loved how the way they filmed it, because that is how real life happens, right? I can think of it, and we'll move on because Arthur got to do his sports news, but I think of it as, let's say, again, I mentioned my lowest low being in 2021 when, we knew my grandma was sick, right? And my sister calls me 5 times, and we have that gene where if one of our siblings calls somebody or try to call everybody 5 times, something's wrong, right? We'll call, we'll leave you a voicemail, we'll text, hey, just checking in. But with my family members, my siblings in particular, if I miss their call 5 times and they're texting me, hey, 911, something is wrong, right? It's a whole different dynamic. When my grandma died and my sister told me, it was real, she was gone, right? So that's how I felt about this episode 3. It was just so surreal, right? It changed the game, because these are characters. They're not real people. I mean, the actors are real, but the characters are not real. But it's a whole surrealism that they portrayed in this episode, and you guys will feel it. You will feel sad, right? I didn't cry, but I'm just like, damn, because the season's almost done. They're not getting renewed. This is not really a happy ending when it comes down to the characters. So it was so surreal, right? And that's what made this episode great, in my opinion. Watch episode 3, guys, because it's there. Watch it, enjoy it, and comment below in our forum what happens next. That's the question we all want to know, us being fans of Succession from HBO. What in the hell is going to happen next, right? We don't know. So we got Arthur Brooks in here. We got to talk a little bit about sports before we close out this morning show. Arthur, man, what we got for sports, man?
Jon Rahm had just walked off the 18th green, a Masters champion, striding through a throng of cheering patrons and into the scoring room near Augusta National's clubhouse. As Rahm finalized his Masters winning scorecard, Phil Mickelson stood just outside beaming. Fresh off a landmark Masters performance of his own, sporting his High Flyers Live Golf gear, Mickelson shook hands and slapped backs, warmly greeting Augusta National's green jackets by name. He looked like he belonged exactly where he was. Rahm was the day's biggest winner. But Live Golf, the breakaway tour that's caused a civil war within golf's ranks, scored a major victory of its own this weekend. Derided as a tour for washed-up former stars and unknowns, a money grab for has-beens and never-waces, Live this weekend put 3 players in the top 6, Mickelson, Brooks Koepka and Patrick Reed, and 12 players made the cut. Whatever else Live may be, on this weekend the breakaway tour came up big. We're still the same people, said Koepka, who held the clubhouse lead for 3 rounds and 3 holes. I think that's just manufactured by the media that we can't compete anymore, that we are washed up. Liv has spent the last 9 months taking body blows in the court of public opinion. Derided as a sports-washing effort for Saudi Arabia's reputation, mocked for its low attendance and minuscule television ratings, Liv has struggled for attention, much less relevance. A series of actual court decisions have broken against Liv as well, including 2 this week. But what Liv won this week was far more important than court proceedings or golf Twitter approval. Liv's players proved they have the game to hang with the PGA Tour's best. And that changes the entire complexion of the Liv PGA Tour rivalry. Now, any tournament, like the Masters, that seeks to bring together the best in golf needs to include Liv players. Augusta National may in fact have boxed itself into a corner by so strongly advocating for bringing the best players in the world into one tournament. Where it could have effectively bled out every Liv golfer except for the 6 champions, now it must reckon with the fact that a no-cut format doesn't automatically render players non-competitive and irrelevant. Beyond that, this weekend could be a substantial boon for Liv in its ongoing attempt for rankings legitimacy. If the official World Golf Rankings wants to be an accurate measurement of the best players in the world, it will need to find a way to incorporate Liv players. Koepka acknowledged the difficulty of a solution given Liv's shorter, no-cut format, which the OWGR has consistently said is a stumbling block for granting Liv full points. "That's tough," he said. "I have no idea how they are going to do it. It definitely makes the ranking process more difficult, that's for sure." Mickelson noted that he was grateful for the reception he received, both from the fans and from Augusta National. Sunday evening marked the first hints of the old Phil, gregarious and outgoing. He'd spent the entire week virtually silent. He also not so subtly pushed for the continued inclusion of his fellow Liv players. "I'm very appreciative that we're here, that we are able to play in the majors," he said. "And I thought it was exciting that this tournament rose above it all to have the best players in the world here and lost all the pettiness. That was great. In fact, amid all the good feelings and the happy reunions, there's really only one loser here, golf fans. It's clear that there's substantial talent in the Liv ranks, but the only time golf fans will see them, assuming they don't tune into Liv broadcasts, which they probably won't, is 4 times a year. That's tough for golf fans to stomach, but it will make the majors, for as long as Liv players qualify for them, all the more meaningful. There's always going to be and should always be a place for historical events like this," Mickelson said, "but it's okay to have a little bit of different formats and variety in the game of golf. Whether people will watch that variety remains to be seen. But it's clear that Liv carries a lot more weight now than it did Wednesday."
Congratulations to Jon Rahm, the Masters over there in Augusta, Georgia. Shout out to the Masters. Shout out to everybody who is a fan of the Masters. If you're able to win the lottery to get a ticket to go to the Masters, congratulations, because those things are hard to come by. So congratulations. Now that's going to wrap it up here on our morning show, K.L.P Aftermath Season 5, with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. Simone, it's been a pleasure having you this morning, as always. To all of our cast and crew, DJ Lupizzi, we see you. Thank y'all for making sure that we're getting this show together and having it right, having this back right. K.L.P Aftermath is back, guys. I can't wait. I'm glad. I'm so excited to be back with this show. That's going to wrap it up here on our morning show. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're listening to the video version on our YouTube at KLP Entertainment. And as always, if you're listening to it on our audio platforms, thank you so very much. Share it with your friends, letting you guys know that we were live on Spotify for podcasters, iHeartRadio, iTunes. What's another one, Simone? Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Guys, thank you so very much. We love you guys. We appreciate everybody who's been watching thus far for all of our shows. Very, very grateful. Stay tuned for more podcasting this week. We've got so much more podcasting coming out, and get ready for a social media promo post because, again, my girl, Shell Purcell, we're creating a new show. She has a co-host. It's going to be great. It's going to be really, really great. I cannot wait for that. Until then, from our entire cast and crew, we'd like to say have a great day. Good morning. Stay safe. Stay swanky. Peace.